Hi students, today I am going to discuss the mathematics in cryptography. So the cryptography is taking some of the concepts like conventional crypto system or the public key crypto system. And in the conventional crypto system, again the classical techniques and the modern techniques, and particularly under the classical techniques, again we observed the two techniques like substitution techniques and the transposition technique. In substitution techniques, some of the techniques like Caesar cipher and monoalphabetic cipher, Playfair cipher, Hill cipher, and polyalphabetic cipher. So these five algorithms are depends on completely the structure of the mathematics. Now, and coming to the modern techniques of DES, SDS, and Feastal cipher structure. Not only that, in particularly in the public key crypto system, the public key crypto system is also taking some of the algorithms like RSA algorithm and Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm and digital signature standard algorithm. These all are the concepts or depends on the mathematical notations, and these mathematical notations are taken from the prime number. It will be start from the prime number, and we know that the prime number is any integer which is divisible by 1 in itself is called the prime number. A prime number is taken from the number 2 onwards. That means the 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on are the prime numbers, and we can consider some of the even numbers, that is 4, 6, 8, 10 and so on. These all are nothing but the non-prime numbers. That means any number you have to take which is divisible by 1 and itself is called only the prime number. Now here we can observe in this diagram representation of the slide. So you may be observed the list of prime numbers below 200 numbers. That 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23 and so on. So we have to take some of the list of numbers, derive the prime numbers under the 200. Now we are going to discuss the prime factorization. Actually, any integer you have to be considered, it is the product of the prime number. So definitely we can consider any number, so it should be the product of the prime number. Suppose we take the number, suppose 12 here. The 12 equals to 12 is a integer, a positive integer. 12 we can write 2 into 6, and again the 6 can be write 2 into 3. You may be observed here the 2 and 3 are the prime numbers. So you can take any integer which is the product of the prime number that you can observe. So the factoring a number is relatively hard compared to multiplying the factors together to generate the number. So the prime factorization of a number n is when it can be written as in the product of the prime number. So the general equation we can write A equals to pi p belongs to any number, the p power AP in the sense A suffix p equals to 1 to n. So we have to take the list of n numbers. If you consider any number which is the product of the prime, that's why here the symbolically represented the pi number is the product symbol. Now coming to the relatively prime number. This is a very important concept in the public key cryptography. So because of the public key cryptography is taking the one number and derived to the another number. That means it takes the public key number, it based on that public key number, it can be derived a private number. So how it possible in the sense, so we can use that concept of the relatively prime number. What that relatively prime number is nothing but the greatest common divisor of the two numbers equals to 1. That means any number, any two numbers which are relatively prime, then the GCD factor of the two numbers are equals to 1. So that means the GCD of A comma B. So we know that the GCD, the greatest common divisor of A comma B equals to 1. So that means here you can observe the greatest common divisor of A and B equals to C. Generally, here we can consider any common greatest common divisor, that is the C, suppose in general notation. So C is the divisor of A and also C is the divisor of B. So but here in the relatively prime number, in the sense if the GCD of any two numbers are equals to 1. So you can observe out of these two, one number must be a prime and other number may or may not be prime. So the GCD factor of the two numbers are equals to 1. For example, the GCD of here you can observe the 4 comma 19. Here 4 is the non-prime number and 19 is the prime number. The GCD of 4 comma 19 equals to 1. So here the relatively prime numbers, the 4 and 19 are the relatively prime number. So here you can take in the last identification of that particular prime product. If you consider any integer, suppose the 300 for example, 300 can be written as in the product of the 2 into 2 power 1 into 3 power 1 into 5 square. So that means here 2, 3, 5 both are all numbers are the prime number. Now for example, in this we can identify the GCD of 18 comma 300. So this GCD of 18 comma 300 is taken. So 2 power 1 into 3 power 1 into 5 power 0. So then automatically we take the only the two numbers which are taking the common factor of 18 and 300, that is 2 and 3. So that's why here what is the common whatever the common factor we can identify. So here 300 equals to 2 into 3 into 5 square, 18 equals to 2 power 1 into 3 square. So out these two, the common factors are the 2 and 3. So whatever the times or whatever the powers of that number, we can't take that, just we can consider the numbers which are taking the common factors of the 318. So that is 2 into 3, that is the 6. So the GCD of 18 comma 300 equals to 6. This is the way we can identify the general notation of this particular GCD factor. In the forward session, in the forward concept, we can identify how we will find the GCD factor if the numbers are giving a large number. So that is the problem. We can consider the Euclid's algorithm. The Euclid's algorithm is an algorithm to find the GCD of the two numbers with the relevant equation. Now we are going to discuss what the next one. So before we go to the Fermat's theorem, so here we can observe the concept of Euclid's algorithm to find the greatest common divisor. The GCD of, here you can write A comma B equals to, here we can write the GCD of B comma A mod B. So here you can observe the greatest common divisor which is of A comma B equals to GCD of B comma A mod B. So this is one of the relevant equation to find the greatest common divisor of the two numbers. So those numbers are considered to any type of number, any large number. Also we can find the GCD factor with the help of this equation, that is GCD of B comma A mod B. We can continue this process until we are getting any one of number must be a 0. So once any number, that is either A or B, so here usually, so we can identify whatever the A mod B will be continue. So the next time the B value becomes to the A value, and whatever the remainder value we can consider, that is A mod B, that is the B value. In the next time the B value will be assigned to the A and the remainder value should be assigned to the next B value. So this process will continue until we are getting the remainder value as 0. So this is the easiest method to find the greatest common divisor of the two numbers, so with the help of the Euclidean algorithm. Now coming to the Fermat's theorem, here the Fermat's is plays a prominent role in the public key cryptography. So because of, in the Fermat's theorem, he stated one of the statement like, if A and N are relatively prime, then we can denote A power p minus 1 is identically equals to 1 mod p. Here the equivalent of equation of this one is A power p minus 1 is identically equals to 1 mod p. That is, a 1 is a remainder of when we get the A power p minus 1 mod p. So here we know that A and N are relatively prime. A and N are relatively prime in the sense, so GCD of A comma P equals to 1. So in this equation we will find easy to calculate it, that relatively factors. So here where P is the prime number and A is any positive integer not divisible by P. So this statement is only true, that is A power p minus 1 is identically equals to 1 mod p when it is true in the sense, so if this particular p value, that is any positive integer not divisible by p, so definitely which is not divisible by p, then only so we take this equation, otherwise this equation may not be derived. So the Fermat's can be defined, A and p are any number which are not divisible by p, then we can write A power p minus 1 is identically equals to 1 mod p. And coming to the Euler-Stoichern function, this is also a prominent role in the algorithms of RSA algorithm, that is Rivest, Shamir and Elliman algorithm, that is a public key cryptography algorithm, and one of the public key cryptography algorithm is the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. These two algorithms are the popular algorithms which are used the Euler-Stoichern function. What the Euler-Stoichern function? Before we discuss the Euler's function, Euler's theorem, the Euler-Stoichern function is necessary. What the Euler-Stoichern function is, which is denoted by phi of n. What the phi of n is nothing but phi of n equals to n minus 1. So that means any integer which is a number should be taken 1 to n minus 1. N minus 1 is nothing but the phi of n. So where phi of n is the Euler-Stoichern function. Now you can imagine if n value becomes to the 10, so what are the numbers which can be considered? The elements are from 0 to n minus 1 in the sense, the set can be considered the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 up to n minus 1 element. If n equals to 10, the n minus 1 elements are 9. So here the residue set of the reduced the set of the residues in the sense, so that is the reminders. The reminders are the numbers which can be taken the elements in between the 0 to n minus 1, that is 9 elements are 1, 3, 7, 9. And coming to the Euler-Stoichern function, which is the n minus 1, if n is the prime product, so immediately the a power the phi of n equals to, if the prime products are n equals to p into q, then we can write phi of n equals to phi of n into p into q, which equals to p minus 1 into q minus 1. So for example here phi of 10 equals to 4 value. So how we can derive that phi of 10 equals to 4 in the sense, here you can observe the phi of the 10 is the prime product, that is the 2 into 5. So here we can write phi of 2 into phi of 5. So again the phi of n value equals to n minus 1, 2 minus 1 value 1 into phi of 5 value equals to phi of 5 equals to 5 minus 1, that is 4. So which equals to the value of phi of 10 equals to 4. So the Euler-Stoichern function can be find the value of that particular number, so which is taken the prime product, then we can write the phi of 2 into phi of 5. So here similarly we can find any value, so related to that number which is 0 to n minus 1, we can find any type of value related to the Euler's Torsion function. Suppose the phi of 37 value we can consider here, the prime number 37, there is no product of the any numbers, so that's why directly we can write the phi of 37 equals to 37 minus 1, which equals to 36. And coming to the phi of 21, what is the Euler's Torsion function of phi of 21 equals to? So the 21 can be written in the prime product, that is 3 into 7. So that means the phi of 3 into phi of 7. So phi of 3 means the n minus 1, 3 minus 1 value, into phi of 7 equals to 7 minus 1, that is the 6 value. So 2 into 6, that equals to 12. So the phi of 21 value becomes to the 12. So here for the prime number p, then phi of p equals to p minus 1. If p and q are the prime, that is the product of the any number is the prime number product, then we can write phi of p into q equals to p minus 1 into q minus 1. So this is the Euler's Torsion function. Coming to the Euler's theorem. What the Euler's theorem? The Euler's theorem is taking from the Fermat's. So Fermat's is if any a and n that are two numbers which is not divisible by p, then we can write a power p minus 1 is identical equals to 1 mod n. But here the Euler's theorem can be state any integer, that is a and n, are relatively prime. Now you can observe here the GCD of a comma n equals to 1. That is, if any number a and n that are relatively prime, then the GCD of the two numbers equals to 1. That is GCD of a comma n equals to 1. Then we denote the statement of the Euler's a power phi of n is identical equals to 1 mod n. Here this equivalent equation of this one is, that is a power phi of n mod n equals to 1. That means we can write a power phi of n is identical equals to 1 mod n. So now the equivalent equation of the given a power phi of n mod n equals to 1, the equivalent equation is a power phi of n is identical equals to 1 mod n. So here why we can write the statement already in the given Euler's theorem, if a and n that are relatively prime, then the GCD of a comma n equals to 1, here we can write. So here we take some of the example. A equals to 3, n equals to 10, the phi of 10 equals to 4 value, hence 3 power 4 equals to 81. So which is identical equals to 1 mod phi of 1 mod n value becomes to the 10. So 81 divided by 10, we get the remainder 1. So then we can write the equivalent statement, 81 is identical equals to 1 mod n, that is the 10 value. So hence 2 power 10 equals to 10, 1024, which is also is identical equals to 1 mod n value is the 11, a value 2, n value 11, then phi of 11 equals to 10 value. Then here we can write that a power phi of n in the sense 2 power 10 is identical equals to 1 mod 1024. So this equation can be derived with the help of the Euler's theorem. The Euler's theorem can be taken from the concept of the Euler's Torsion function. The Euler's Torsion function is phi of n, so which is the number less than 1, that is phi of n equals to n minus 1. And finally we can identify the discrete logarithm or indices. So what the discrete logarithm is nothing but the powers of an integer modulo n. The discrete logarithm is the plays a prominent role in the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. The Diffie-Hellman exchange algorithm depends on the concept of the discrete logarithm. The difficultness of the discrete logarithm is a powers of an integer modulo n. So powers of an integer a power x, here we can take a power x is identical equals to b mod p, where b is the remainder here, a is the base value and power x is the whatever the value we can be considered the x, and the p is the value which is taken the prime number. So now, so the inverse problem to exponential is to find the discrete logarithm of a number of modulo p. So here we can write the equivalent equation x equals to log base a into b mod b, so which is also right in the indices format. X equals to I and d is nothing but the indices. So in the suffix we can write a comma b, a comma p in the sense a power x mod p, and what the base value equals to here is the b. So we can take this one is the a discrete logarithm. Generally we can use in the odd problem. So this is the very difficult to find the some of the encryption algorithms. So with the help of the discrete logarithm, that's why the discrete logarithm is used in the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. So these are the general mathematical notations which we are using the public key cryptography and as well as to the conventional crypto system. Here is the prime numbers, here is the relatively prime numbers, and what is the Fermat's theorem and what is an Euler's theorem, and before that Euler's totient function and finally we discuss the discrete logarithm and the indices concepts.